All right, so I'm gonna be doing just like a weekly breakdown of just kind of how I viewed the markets this week and some trades that I would have took, wouldn't have took, and did take. So first and foremost, we're gonna start with the open of this week, right? Right, market opened and immediately like the draw that I was looking for as market opened was to come and fill this gap. And then um come fill this gap and either give us a move up and then go down. But as you can see, we filled the gap and literally just dropped to the freaking moon. So once I seen that, I was like, okay, market is clearly bearish, right? We're gonna keep going down. um and kind of my idea of what this week was gonna do was, I knew that, right, we want to come back to all-time highs, but we're probably going to see some sort of rebalance, right, of this entire range on the daily chart. So I marked out my fib, right, low, high, and I already knew that price wanted to rebalance this entire leg before even moving up to all-time highs, right? So so just coming into this week, I knew that we were bearish, right? We were starting what, like up here, yeah. So yeah, so just, yeah, we were right here. Like we were right here, and I knew the rebalancing was probably going to be at the point 0.5, right before we go up any higher. We had some, we had some structure here, right? We had these daily order blocks to tap into, right? All these daily order blocks all the way down here. So I was like, yeah, I know price is going to come, tap back into that, and kind of just to refine those order blocks. Like we have a monthly gap right here, monthly gap right here. Um, there's a gap right here as well. We don't really tap. Maybe we tap farther into this, or sorry, not monthly, weekly gap, right? Weekly gap, and then if we go on the month, um, on the month we have a fat monthly gap that's right in that point 0.5. So I knew price wanted to come down into this monthly gap, and those weekly gaps and those order blocks, so daily order blocks, to then push us up higher to come back and take all-time highs. So kind of just knowing that kind of was like, I know what price is probably going to do. Okay, so keep this point 0.5 like level in mind, right? Just keep this level in mind. If we This is a weekly order block as well. It's like right on the CE of that. So that was mainly my draw. So like coming into this market, like I'm like only looking for shorts to this point 0.5 level, right? Which aligns with this weekly order block CE, right? So that's what I was looking for. Um so let's leave this and just go down. Let's go to the 15. All right, so starting up here, we came so market open on Monday, and we literally dropped to the freaking the ground. There was no really, there's not really any entries really for real that you could have seen. Um, Really, like there wasn't really too many, like there wasn't like an entry trigger, I guess, to get in here, right? Um, we took this low, or sorry, we took this high right here. Um, we took this high, but the thing about this is we didn't really tap into anything that I wanted to see. Like for me to even try to take this, we didn't tap into anything on the left, right? We didn't really induce, or sorry, we didn't really, tap into any order blocks or any POIs. And it's in the middle of a range as well. So if we go and like we know the market is bearish, so um if we go and mark OTE, right, we're at the point 0.5 level. correct? Or sorry. Yeah, we're at the 0.5 level that we just tapped into. But I like to take my trades more up here, right? Um, just because my stop, I want my stop to be, pretty small. So with that being said, like there was nothing for me to really enter off of. We go on to 3 minute. I hate when it does that. 3 minute. There was we did have a 3 minute right here, right? But I didn't mark it out because I knew that we weren't gonna come back up here after we just, you know, drop like that. 2 minute. Jeez, man, why does it do this? Um, so there was a 2 minute right here, as you can see, but we already tapped into it, right? We tapped into that. We tapped into it and gave us like a nice minor pullback, right? But I do not validate this as AMD just because we're in the middle of the range, right? So I wouldn't even count this as valid AMD because you could say that we accumulated, right? And we took this right here. Induced this high. We induced this high to tap into this gap, right? This could be a trade you took, but me personally, I wouldn't have taken that just because we're in the middle of a range. So honestly, I don't count this. I mean, it's valid AMD, but I just personally would not have taken this just because we're in the middle of range, right? I would want us to see us come a bit more higher, right, before we do anything. So, and I don't count this as a protected high as well, just because we're in the middle of range. So we induced this high right here, tapping into our POI perfectly, and gave us a nice reaction down to take this low, right? But like I said, I wouldn't take that, so I'm not even gonna mark it out for real. I'd want us to see us come up here. But anyways, there was no market open. There wasn't really no bro. Oh my gosh. Okay. There wasn't really anything that I liked for real. 10 a.m. One thing I did see was 10 a.m. Right here. This was kind of a nice trade that you could have took. Um, that I personally did not take just because I just did not like that we came right. We created a nice order block, right? But we came and we left this liquidity here, right? And I wanted to see a valid AMD, right, to confirm that this was a good move. But I mean, market moves fast, so I know a lot of people took this. I didn't take it though. I just did not. I just didn't trust it too much. 25 points, it would have played, but honestly, I didn't trust it just because we left this here. I wanted to see us come back, tap into it, but we didn't, so it's okay. Let's go back. Stay on a 5 minute actually, so we don't have to go down on time frames too much. All right, so after we dropped, obviously this high is protected, right? All protected. Um, and honestly, I was like literally shorts only. Like after we had this entire drop, shorts only, right? And I did not want to take longs until we came down into this order block or came down into this 0.5 level, right? So that was my higher time frame structure that I was looking at for to get taken before we come up to back up to these highs, right? To end up ultimately going up to all-time highs. So, right, let's go ahead and go here. So Monday, right, a little bit before Asia session, right, we came up, right, we induced these lows, right, tap to gap, and this was a bigger gap on the 15. So we already know that these are going to get taken, right? And I know that my bias is bearish. So once I've seen this, right, I marked up this order block. We tapped into this order block, giving us a nice rejection lower. Um, Giving us a nice rejection lower. And once I seen that, I was like, okay, this is probably we're probably gonna keep going lower from this, right? So once we had this nice rejection, I was like, okay, we need to confirm that this high is protected and we're not gonna go any higher. So we came and we generated a valid AMD. This is picture perfect AMD in my eyes. So we accumulated, right? We tapped into this 5 minute gap, right? Creating this, right? Creating this. After we created this is engineered, right? This is engineered liquidity, right? And we had engineered liquidity right under right under our POI, right? Engineered liquidity right under our POI. And once I seen that, I was like, yes, this is like picture perfect, right? I would not limit this, right? I would not limit this just because we don't know if this high is protected, right? Right. So we had engineered liquidity right under this POI, and we broke. Once I seen that we broke this low right here, once I seen that we broke this low, right? We broke this low. Um that lets me know that manipulation has stopped, right? And this high is protected, right? This high and this high is protected, right? Because if 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 it wasn't protected, right? Right? If manipulation was still going, right, we would have came and took these highs before breaking lower, correct? So since we came and took this low, right, we induced this low. This lets me know that this high is protected, right? These highs are protected. So as we broke, right, we created a right our order block right here that I have marked out right here. And from that point being, you know that you can take shorts from that, right? Because we know that these highs are protected. All right. So you can take shorts from these from this order block. And what I used sorry, I used OTE to kind of solidify my entry and get a nice entry and nice stop, right? I don't know why I took it off for some reason, but I did take this trade. I limited the 705 level, right, and it was under right under this order block, right, which I loved. So I love that. And I kept my stop at 15 points right above this 0.79, and I targeted, it was a really nice trade, man. I think it was like a 1 to 11. 1 to 11, and I targeted this low right here. Targeted this low. My draw was this one, right? But only, or was it this one? Yes, it was this one. It was this low, right? Just that first available low that I wanted to get C taken. It was a 1 to 11, right? Um, Really nice. I like that. That was a really good trade that I liked. Um, and that was like picture perfect. So after we came, um, we know that these highs are protected. Um, and we know that we can just continue to keep on shorting, right? So let me mark this out as well. Um, not just so you can see. So this is protected. All right. So since this gave us our first protected high, after all of this right here, I knew that once this high, right, once this high gets took, we are most likely going to come back up here, right? This high is still protected until we take out some piece of structure, right? So we took out, we tapped into this order block, right? And we tapped into this 0.5. So as soon as we tap into this, we know that price is probably going to turn bullish, right? And if you wanted to wait for extra confirmation, you could have seen that we created, right? We created we created counter R&D to then push it up higher. But we're gonna get to that. So as market goes, we keep on just creating, right? but we never but we create this right here. So let me see. So we left this unmitigated order block right here, right? And we just kept on accumulating, right? This is right here. This is an unmitigated or unmitigated POI, right? And we just left all this, literally all this. This is all accumulation on the higher time frame. It's all accumulation, right? So Monday, so Tuesday, right? We're just accumulating Asia London, right? Asia London accumulation. Boom, market open, right? Market open. We manipulate down. See, this can fool a lot of people, right? Because look how far we manipulated downwards. So we manipulated downwards, right? But this is not really manipulation, right? This is not manipulation if you understand where the market is going, right? So this faked out a lot of people. I know a lot of people tried. I know a lot of people took longs, um, or wanted to take longs, right? And it probably could have worked, right? But this is not. We are not going up. We are not going up, right? We know that like the bias is going down. We're going to tap back into these pieces of structure before even moving lower, right? And look, we tapped into. Remember that order block that I marked out. We tapped into that order block, and look what it gave us. It gave us this momentum, this push up, right? But what did it fail to do after we tapped into that order block? We failed to take out this high. So once you see that we came up, right? We failed to take out this high and we start reaccumulating. That lets you know that that price is going to keep going lower, right? We should have, if price really wanted to go bullish, we should have tapped that order block and literally shot up to the freaking moon, right? And took out all this and then keep on going up to all-time highs. But we did not, right? Why? Because we have not fulfilled our high time frame structure, right? We have not fulfilled our high time frame bias. So after this fake manipulation down, right? Um, we shot up, right? Sweeping out, we sweeped a little bit of these highs, but we did not tap into our original unmitigation zone, right? Which is right here, okay? And that was the start, right? We failed to come and tap this, and we kept on accumulating. So all the liquidity rests up here. It rests right here. We're just grabbing orders, grabbing orders, grabbing orders, grabbing orders until we finally come back up and tap into this. So, so we come, right? We have this fake manipulation. This is literally just fake, right? We end up creating a POI, right? This is SMT though. This is SMT. It's a trap, right? We accumulate, right? And what do? We leave engineered liquidity right here, right? We leave engineered liquidity right under this SMT. Okay, so we never tap this SMT right here. We never tap this SMT. So that lets us know that this SMT is probably gonna get revisited. Okay. So after we accumulated leaving this, right? We tap into a gap, right? 15-minute gap right here. Once we tapped to that 15-minute gap and we broke structure, taking this high right here out, that lets me know that we are going to revisit this, right? We are going to revisit this. We are going to revisit this 9 times out of 10. Matter of fact, 100 times out of 10, we are revisiting this, right? Because we tap into this. Once we tap a fair value gap and we leave that fair value gap, breaking right, breaking a piece of structure, or sorry, not breaking a piece of structure. What's the word I'm looking for? Um, or right, going up in the opposite direction, breaking out in high. We know that this is going to be revisited, right? This is engineered. It's engineered liquidity. Okay, so we came, and what do we do? This is perfect entry. Like, mind you, this high up here, this high is not protected until we know that manipulation has ended. So we tapped into, right? We tapped into the order block right here, correct? Once we tapped into that order block, we displaced lower. Okay. Once we tapped into this and we break some type of piece of structure, right? Let's go into 1 minute. See if we did did break any type of piece of structure. Um, right here. Okay. So boom, we tapped into it. We came down. I would want to see this high, or sorry, this low, right? This low. It's not working. There we go. I'd want to see this low get took, right? Before we come back, up, tapping into this. Okay? This is exactly what I want to see. Here. Okay? We did not get that, which is okay. We did not get that. But since we came and took this low, we know that manipulation has ended here. Okay? We know that manipulation has ended here, and we know that this high and this high is now protected. Okay? So boom, once we figured out that that high is not protected, we start to look for the nearest POI to enter off of, right? Because we know that this high is protected. We have no more liquidity up here. So we broke, and like I said, remember what I said. And this is like picture perfect a way to use SMTs, right? We broke this low, but we did not come back up here. Why? Is because we are not ready to come back up here. Remember, we engineered this liquidity right here, right under this SMT. So what is price going to do? Price is going to drop all the way, induce this low, tapping into this SMT to then run us back up into our POI, to then send us back lower to break this, to run through this SMT. Okay? That's exactly what price did, right? Mind you, whenever this happens, just expect price to react off this SMT if one, we do not tap our POI that's up here. Right? Expect price to tap this SMT to then fuel this, to give us that fuel to come back to this SMT to then run lower. Okay? And that's what we did, right? We came, so right during Asia and London, we came when we built up all this liquidity. Right? We built up all this liquidity, built it up. We tapped into this SMT, right? You could have ping ponged this. You could have ping ponged this, but I did not. I did not ping pong this just because this is just, we're trading against bias, right? And honestly, I did not think this SMT was gonna hold after why is this right here? I did not think this SMT was gonna hold after after we swept this, right? I did not think this was gonna hold. But one thing I failed to realize is we never tapped into here. We never tapped into here. So I'm like, okay, we're probably just gonna run through this low, hit this SMT, and then end up, going higher. Right? And that's exactly what we did. And I marked it out here just so you can see, right? We came, we tapped to this SMT, right? And if you look, we created failure, right? We created all these rejection wicks. So this would have let you know that we are probably going to come back down to induce the slow to tap deeper into this POI. So once we tapped this POI, we came up, right? We came up, but we failed to take out this, right? We failed to take out this high. We failed to take out this high. So that lets us know we created these rejection wicks. That lets us know that price, it created a failure swing. So once we see this failure swing, we know that price is going to come down to take this low. And that's exactly what price did. We came down to take this low right here to then eventually rally up. And boom. Look at this. So we came, once we see this, right? We look at this. Look, we took this. We took this low, but look at this. Look at this low right here. We did not take. Right? You did not take. But one thing that you have to understand is whenever you're trading against the trend, you have to take what you can get. Okay. So we created a failure swing, right? We tapped into this, we tapped into another SMT right here, right? Which is going to get ran through, right? We tapped into another SMT. We took this high, right? We took this high right here and this high. We did not take this one, right? Which is what I would want to see. We came, we plummeted, right? taken out anybody's. We basically just we just stop ran, right? We ran all these stops that were under here to then take us to end up going higher, right? If you were trying to trade this, you would have to wait for us to come up to take this high, then come down to then tap into a POI here to then send us back up higher. But we did not get that, right? That's why this trade is marked out in red, because it's just, these are just invalid trades that I would not have taken, but they still ended up working in a sense, right? But if you understand the market, right, and you understand where the market is wanting to go, you'll understand that why these trades work and why they're risky to take. Okay. So after this, after I seen this, I'm like, okay, after we tapped into this and we had this big rally up, right? I know that price is going to break this low, right? This is instant. This is instant. I have it marked out here. This is like instant draw on liquidity, right? Instant draw on liquidity. This is going to get taken 100% of the time because it's a trap. It's S&T. We are not bullish yet, right? We are not bullish. We are not bullish at all because one, this high is protected, right? We created this protected high that failed to take out this, right? So we know we're not bullish. We're not like if this high right here came took this high out right here, we know once price comes and induces this low, we know price is going to come up, end up rallying and going higher. But what do? We failed. No, so we know that price is going to go here and go lower. Okay. So going so seeing this, right? We created a bunch of this accumulation, right? We were literally just accumulating, right? Um oops. Right? We're accumulating here, right? Oops. This is all accumulation, right? This is all accumulation to then, right, give us this big old candle right here. It's not that big, but to give us this candle to tap into this 3-minute rejection block that was right here, right? 3-minute / 5-minute rejection block. One, a trade that you could have took was this one, right? Why I did not take it, I'm gonna explain that. But why this trade worked, right, is because we accumulated up into this, right? And we manipulated right here. Look at all these small candles, right? These small candles, and then we had this big candle, right? And gave us this rejection wick into this 3-minute, right? And it was right under the 0.79, which is valid, right? This order block is valid to then send us back lower. But why this trade does not work, right? I'm gonna give 2 reasons. Okay. One reason this trade did not work is because I did not see this as valid manipulation. Okay, I did not see this right here, this leg, as valid manipulation. Just because the volatility is very low. It's 5 o'clock in the morning right here, right? You would never take this trade. I mean, if you're up, it's at 5 o'clock in the morning, I guess. But one, there's no volatility here, so I don't see this as valid manipulation. Okay, so I feel like manipulation has not ended yet, right? So I would not classify this as manipulation until we get a valid AMD showing us that this is manipulation and it ended, right? And what do we do? What do we do? We came and we are building a bunch of liquidity, right? We are building a bunch of liquidity right here. We created all this liquidity. Oops, I keep doing that. Created all this liquidity, right? To then come up, right? To then come up, manipulate, right? Manipulate this high, right? That started it, right? To manipulate this high to tap into we manipulate this high, and then once we manipulated this, right? I seen that we broke, right? We broke this low. So once I seen this, once I seen this, I was like, okay, now we know that these highs are all protected because we know that manipulation came and broke, right? You could have seen that you could have saw that price came. We took these lows, right? We took these lows, but honestly, I did not like that. I just didn't see that as a valid you know manipulation until we had these big old candles come and take these lows, right? Sweeping this SMT and this low right here, tapping into this gap, right? Or sorry, yes. So look at this. This is kind of picture perfect as well. We have an order block, right? We have an order block right under this fair value gap, right? Or sorry, we have an order block, and we have this candle right here that tapped into this gap. This right here lets us know that this S&T, this order block is not valid, right? It is not valid. It is not valid at all. We have this order block, and we have this candle that tapped into the fair value gap. We know that this is going to get revisited. So once I seen us break below this gave me extra confirmation that we are going to come back higher to tap into this RPOY that was left here, that was unmitigated, to then bring us back lower. So once I seen this, right, we came, and this is pre-market. This is pre-market, by the way. Pre-market came, took this, right? Once once you understand that whenever pre-market takes out a piece of structure before market opens, we know that 930 is going to be our manipulation, right? We know that 930 is going to come back and manipulate us higher to then tap us up, tap us and bring us lower. So once I seen that pre-market manipulated this low, right, tapping deeper into this fair value gap, right, leaving this low, this right here, this is how you know this is going to be the draw and lower, because we tapped this and we left it. We did not take this low out. We tapped into this gap and we left this. We left this right here, right? You can mark this. I'm pretty sure on the lower five there was an order block. There's an order block here. So I'm gonna mark this out. Oops. So on the lower time frame, there was an order block here, right? We came and we did not tap into this, right? So we induced. We gave this is just liquidity, right? So we did not induce this, right? So once I seen this, right, and we're accumulating, and we tap into this POI, I know that this is no longer gonna hold, right? This S&T right here is no longer going to hold because we already tapped into our POI. Okay, the only way this S&T would hold is if we have not tapped into our POI yet, right? And look, and look, and look. What do you see? Market open, right? Market open. Actually, I want to see. Let's actually see where. Let's see where market opened and tapped, right? I want to see which tap first. Okay, so 930. Okay, this is literally perfect. Yes, look, we have a 3-minute rejection block right here. Or sorry, not rejection block, order block. Market open. We came down, sweeping these lows, and we engineered liquidity right at this POI. What happens? We come, we break this piece of structure to then start accumulating again. What does market do as soon as it opens? Market comes, taps into this SMT to use it as fuel to bring us back up to our POI to then send us back lower. Literally, like I said, the only way this SMT holds, right, is if we have not tapped into our POI, right? That's the only way this SMT holds. And that's exactly what it did. We came, we tapped into it, and the only reason why it's held is because we never tapped into this. We never tapped into our POI, so we know that this SMT is going to hold, right? So as soon as market opened, you genuinely could have ping ponged this. You literally could have just limited this because you know this is gonna hold, right? Market opened, right? But the thing is with this is you do not know market well, you don't know if market will open, come back and tap it first, or come down and tap this. So it's kind of like you kind of just have to wait and see, right? You kind of have to just wait and see. But if you know the higher time frame draw, you can limit this. And the reason being is because these highs are all protected. They're all protected. We know manipulation ended. We already know manipulation ended because of all this confirmation, right? We know this. We know manipulation ended because of all this confirmation here, right? We have all the confirmation, so you can limit this. As soon as market opens, you can limit this to then take us back lower. So once you see this tap and these big candles up to induce, right? To induce this to induce sorry, to induce this, right? To induce this high, which it did perfectly. You know that this is you can limit this, and you're gonna win, right? 9 times out of 10 you're going to win, right? And that's exactly what happened, right? We took this trade. This was on FOMC, so I did not take this trade on any fundeds or evals. This was purely a paper trade, right? Just because there's FOMC, but this is still valid proof that this works, right? It's valid proof that this works, right? And look, we dropped what? How much? 382 points from my entry. 382 points, and you would have targeted this low, right? This S&T is not going to hold. This S&T is not going to hold because it's against higher time frame bias, right? We already tapped into it, so we know we tapped into it, tapping in our POI, and look what happens. We break, right? Same thing that happened here is the same thing that happened here, right? Same thing. We tapped after we swept these, right? We have since we left our POI behind. What is price going to do? Price is going to come down to tap into our S&T to give us that fuel to come back to tap into our POI and then fuel us to go even lower. And that's exactly what happened, right? This is exactly what happened during Asia and during New York, right? Same thing, same exact thing. And you would have limited this, right? You would have limited this 20-point stop right above this high, right? Because this high is protected. Why is this high protected? We had a valid AMD, right? We had a valid AMD, right? We tapped this high, right? Taking out this liquidity, right? We know this high is protected, right? Because we took this low. There's no more liquidity. Manipulation ended. So we swept this high, right? To then bring us back lower to then break this. Once you see this break, you know that this high is protected. You know this high is protected, right? And you know this high is protected, right? Because manipulation has ended. What do? Accumulate. Manipulate higher, right? We manipulate higher. Manipulation stopped here, right? And then we distribute it lower. Since we've seen this break this, we know this high is protected. We can take this and short limit this and target our zone, right? This could have been a target right here or this, right? Me personally, I targeted this low. All right, on to the next. Wednesday. All right. Wednesday was one of those days where you have to just kind of sit back and just watch price, because we are in our order block, right? And we are at that 0.5 level that I was wanting to get tapped. Okay. So once you see this tap, right? We tapped into this piece of structure, and price, give us a nice, it gave us a decent reaction, right? But not enough to keep us going higher. So we created these failure swing. Let me go back on a 5 minute, right? So we tapped and we created this failure swing, right? To then bring us back lower, right? Sweeping these highs, or sorry, sweeping these lows. Okay. once you see that, you have to see. You literally just kind of have to watch price, right? This is PM session, right? You kind of just have to watch price, right? A we created a POI, right, or SMT right here, and the only this SMT is not valid, right? This SMT is not valid because we never had a valid um we didn't have a valid AMD structure, right, confirming that this is a valid SMT, right? What does Price do? We create this SMT and we never tap into it, right? We never tap into it. We literally just expand away. And this is right, this is literally the other thing that happens, right? The other thing that can happen whenever we do not tap into an SMT before moving, you know what I'm saying? Before going to our POI. Okay? So look here. Let's go back to this day. Look here. Look how price came, right? We engineered liquidity under this POI, right? Or yes, under this SMT. We tapped into this order block here, gave us lower, right? Our POI, our point of interest to short is up here. Okay? This high is protected. Since we literally just ran away from our POI, this SMT is valid once we take this low. This SMT is valid and you can use this SMT to then bring us back up to our POI. Okay? Now look here. Look at this SMT right here. Right? We ran away from this SMT, right? And we created this engineered liquidity right here, right? We tapped into a gap and we created this engineered liquidity. Okay, or sorry, right? We created this engineered liquidity, and then we ended up rallying. The only way this SMT would have been valid is if we did not tap. If we did not take this POI or tap into this POI, right? There's this 15-minute POI that was up here, right? There was a 15-minute order block that was up here that we ended up tapping into, um, to then fuel us lower. This is the reason why this SPT did not help. And as you can see, look, we took out this protected high right here. We took out this protected high, but look at what price does. Okay, look exactly what price does. We took out this protected high, but as soon as we took it out and tapped into this 15-minute order block that was right here, right? I mean, technically, we did not even tap it. We literally edged it. We literally edged it by, I don't even know, like a point, like 2 points, right? We literally edged it by 2 points. Okay, we tapped into this and ended up running, literally running through it, literally running through that. So literally, once you've seen this, right, it did not give us like an entry up here, right? And and the thing is, you wouldn't even take this up here because right, our nearest piece of structure is all the way down here, right? So the only way this high becomes this POI becomes valid to even use is once this this low or these lows right here get taken, right? And 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 once those lows get took, I mean, then I guess you could see this as valid. But we tapped into this POI, right? We tapped into this POI, and since we tapped into this POI, there's no reason for us for this SMT to hold for us to come back up to tap into our points of interest right here, right? There's no reason. There's literally no reason. Look how far we dropped. If you expect price to rebalance, right, to tap this and come back up here, right, you're your actual donut. Like we literally dropped 600 points. Like there's no way in hell price is gonna come down and retap this to give us that fuel to go up. There's like no, there's no way. So this would have been a day or like this like PM, right, or PM session. You just wouldn't have traded. You would literally just watch. right? So you literally just have to watch these days, right? Wednesday. So your only trade Wednesday would have been this 9:30, right? And literally Wednesday you would just have to watch, right? And what does price do? We take this low, right? Tapping deeper into our order block and this point 0.5, okay? And what does price do? Open price. We came creating this nice order block. And what does price do? What does price do? Right? Since we came and tapped in, took out our valid piece of structure, we know from this point. I mean, at this point, you wouldn't know until we created a valid AMD, right? If you've seen this, and since we're tapping in, once you see a valid AMD, right, confirming that the manipulation has stopped here, and we are now turning to bullish, that's the only you would have to see. Like, you just literally just have to wait and watch this valid AMD. Okay, so once we created this, right, this AMD, right, we literally accumulated, right, accumulating, right. We had this low right here that tapped into this fair value gap. We had this low that we wanted to see get induced, right. Want to see this get induced and tap into our PY to end up sending us up, right. Once you see this, right, we induce this low, but we do not tap this, right? We do not tap this, right? So this right now is technically valid, right? Based on where the market is right now. So this is valid, right? We can tap this and go higher based on where the market was at this point, right? So once we break this high, this SMT now becomes a valid POI to then long off of, right? Why? Why is that valid? Okay, one, we tapped into our higher time frame bias, right? We tapped to our higher time frame bias, right? Which was that weekly order block, right? And our point 0.5 zone. So once we tap into that, we are going to probably expect price to end up to probably go up higher, right? But the only way to confirm that this low is protected is watching this day, or watching Asia, to confirm that this low is protected, right? And it is. It is protected. We created valid AMD, right? Valid AMD would nip these lows, but we did not tap here, right? But it's still valid, right? This low is protected. So once you see this, you know that these highs up here are no longer protected, right? Because we tapped into our higher time frame balance or bias. So these highs are no longer protected, right? We took out all our pieces of structure, confirming that we are probably gonna go up higher. So this would have been a day that has been like, okay, we're gonna turn bullish. Okay. So we accumulated, manipulated down, and we broke, right? We literally just, you know, went up, right? This low is protected. So now once you see a protected high get took, you should know that we are bullish. So once you see this high right here, sorry, once you see a protected high get took, you know we're bullish. So this high right here was our protected high. Okay, this is our protected high, and it's the daily. It is the high of the daily candle. Okay, so any trades here are considered gambling in a sense, right? It's considered gambling, but you had some micro AMDs. I mean, most of this is just straight accumulation, right? Most of this is literally just accumulating. Like, none of this is valid, right? If you go on the super low time frame, you can see these as valid manipulation or accumulation, or sorry, valid AMD cycles, right? Microcycles. But most of this is all accumulation, right? This is all accumulation right here, right? Once we break this, we know that this is all just accumulation. Okay. All right. So market open. Okay, market open, taking out our protected high, right? Which is the daily, right? The daily candle, right? We know this high is protected. This high is protected. Once we see this high, get took. This right here is the daily. Sorry, yeah. This one is the daily candle right here. Monday. Look, Monday. Um, or sorry, yeah, this one and this one. Once we see these highs get took, these are protected. We know that bias is probably going to flip bullish. Okay. Until we tap into our high time frame balance, or I keep saying balance, or our high time frame bias, or we induce on a higher time frame. Okay. So if we look here, these are, I took the ones in white are the trades that I took. Okay. I was an idiot, right? I was an idiot, right? One, because I was still stuck on the bias that we are going to keep going lower, right? After this, I consider this all accumulation. Okay, as I'm like, when I'm right here looking at the markets. I consider this all accumulation. So I was expecting price to take out, right? The take out the daily candle, right? Take out the daily candle's high to then manipulate us to go lower, right? And then possibly go higher. I was trying to catch the manipulation move of it, right? But what did price do? Price came, we swept this high, right? We swept the daily, and I marked that as 5 minute OB. What is this 5 minute OB? Right? This 5 minute OB is SMT now because we're bullish, right? But I marked it out as a valid OB, right? Like an idiot, like an idiot. Okay. On the 1 minute, we took this low, so I was like, okay, yep, this is valid, right? This is valid. We can take this to take our manipulation, so to go lower. Okay, the reason why this doesn't work is because this is not a protected high, right? This is not protected, right? It cannot be protected because we took out protected highs up here, right? We took out protected highs up here, so there's no way this high can be protected, and we have a protected low down here, right? There's no way. There's no way. You always trade against your protected highs and lows, right? You always trade away from your sorry, yeah. You always trade away from your protected highs and lows, right? You never trade towards them, right? So, and I failed to understand that this was protected, right? Until I actually looked back and I was like, yes, this is protected, right? So this is why those trades ended up failing, right? It kept trying to short and ended up failing, right? We had another one, right? We resweep. So I'm like, okay, yep, this is a resweep, right? We took these lows. So I was like, okay, yeah, manipulation ended here. So we're probably gonna see, you know, us come back up here to end up going lower. And what happened? We died, right? We literally died. Literally got destroyed. Okay. Marked at this 5 minute OB, and candle literally just front ran us, like literally just destroyed us. All right, that's not valid. Okay, so so you could have just so like on these days, you literally could have just went on the lower time frame, right? Um, went on the lower time frame and just catch these microcycles, right? Catch these microcycles, right? Validating these protected lows, right? Um, this low, we came, we came up. Um, we know that. So since we break, matter of fact, we did not break this. We did not break this. So this low is not protected. So taking, if you were to take this, this was a gamble. This is why this is not a valid trade, right? So I would. This is why it's marked on the red. It's not valid, right? It's something I did not take and wouldn't have took. So it's not valid until we, give us a clear AMD, and we did not, right? But it ended up playing, right? Ended up playing, and we ended up, breaking that, right? Confirming this. So now this low is not protected. Okay. So we came, same thing happened, right? We accumulated, manipulated down to tap into right, our POY to then send us up higher, right? To send us higher. So now we know this low is protected, right? Um so this is market open, right? So market open, Asia or pre-Asia, and what did price do? We came, taking out this low, or sorry, this high, literally just front ran this, right? And once we took this out, I was like, okay, this low is protected, right? We get, this low is protected. We're probably not gonna come back down here. Um, Wait, sorry, no, this is not Asia. Sorry, this is not open. This is open right here. I'm bugging. Yeah, so this is not valid. This is not valid right here. Not valid. So we came, blah blah blah, accumulated. Look, so this is what I considered. This is a trade that you could have took. I didn't mark. I don't have it marked. Oh, it didn't even play. Or matter of fact, it did. Or no, it was right here. Yeah, right here. Okay, so market open. So we accumulated, manipulated. As soon as market opened, we came and we induced this low to tap into this order block, 3 minute order block, and we ended up, pumping after that. This low is now protected. Okay, we don't want to come back down here. Since we seen this, look, we accumulated, right? Manipulated, tapping into this right here, right? To then send us higher. This low is now protected. Okay. So once we seen this valid bridge structure, we know that this is now protected to send us up higher. So we came, same thing, accumulated, right? Accumulated. We tapped into a gap, which sent us up higher. Okay. Once we seen this break right here, once we seen this break, this breaking structure, we know this low is now protected, right? We came, we tapped in, we actually we resweeped it. Yep, tapped. We know that this low is protected. So what you would have wanted the price to come and do was you would have want price to come here, right after taking out this low right here or this high. You would have wanted price to come back, reaccumulate, to come sweep this low right here, right, right, with you know big candles, and then right take this to ended up going higher, right? So this was a trade that I was going to take, but we never got our entry, which is okay. Coming up here, right? S&T, we had an S&T up here that I wanted to target, right? Reason being, this S&T is not valid, right? So I know I could target the high of this S&T, and the reason why I can target the high, right, to end up front running this, is because after we came, we didn't really I think we tapped to a gap, right? There was a gap on the left side, a big 15-minute gap that we tapped into to give us this rejection. And what do we know about highs and lows and gaps? They're gonna get swept instantly. So once I seen that, I was like, okay, this ST is not valid. As soon as we came break this low, this ST is not valid, right? ST is not valid, and we're going to front run this. Okay, so we had some form of counter AMD right here. We came accumulated, manipulated up, um, right? But I do not count it. I just did not look at this, right? I did not look at this because it's counter. It's counter AMD, knowing that we're bullish, right? So we came. So what do we do? On the 3 minute, I'm gonna go on the 3 minute for this. 3 minute, we up here, right? We accumulated, right? Manipulated lower, tapping into this fair value gap. Okay, we tapped into this fair value gap. Uh, uh, Once we tapped into this fair value gap, we broke right here, right? We broke right here. This is trade. It's in red, right? This is a valid trade. I just did not take it, and I wouldn't have taken it just because I would want to see this right here. I'd want to see this get broke, right? But if you go on a lower time frame, you can classify this as a break, right? You could classify this as a break right here, right? You have that rejection wick, right? You getting these rejection wicks, right? And we would have swept, right? We would have swept. We had these rejection wicks telling us that we're probably gonna go lower, right? We came and you would have limited this, right? Tapped in to tap into this to then send us up higher, right? Honestly, this is midnight open. I'm not even awake, right? I'm asleep. So this is why I wouldn't have taken this. Maybe if I was awake, I probably would have been like, okay, yeah, this is kind of valid, right? This is kind of like A trade that would have took like maybe, um and like just an overnight trade, just like, set and just kind of just, get away from your computer, right? Just, you know what I'm saying? But yeah, this is a valid trade, right? I just did not check it. That's why it's in red. Okay. So let's go back on the five. Uh, again with the target is SPT, and look at that, ran straight through it. So all these highs, all SMTs. Okay, just remember that. What happens here? We come, we after we sweep this, we accumulate. We're just building accumulation. Okay, building accumulation, building accumulation. Okay, let me hurry up. Building accumulation. Okay, so we come, we manipulate down into our POY to then send us up back up higher, right? Taking out this piece of structure, letting us know that this low right here is protected, right? So once I see that, I'm expecting price to either respect this low, right? So once we see this is the tricky part, right? We see this, and I know a lot of people wanted to short this up here. But this is what you have to understand about the market, brother. The market likes to play games, okay? It's going to fake you out, right? So market, once we tweak this low, we come, right? And we manipulate down, taking this, right? Taking this. We take this low, right? Which was in yeah. We take this low, right? You would really want this low to get took, right? You would really want this low. But we had this low. Okay. And what did price do? Okay, what? Just look. Price came. We took this low, right? And price came. We tapped into this. We tapped into this, and look what happened. We tapped into this ST, and we literally front ran it. Okay, we literally front ran it. The reason being is this low is the start of the mitigation, right? This low right here is the start of this mitigation. Since we did not look, and this is counter to your bias, so you would not even think of shorting up here, right? Since it's counter to your bias. Okay, we have a POI right here, right? We have this POI right here. What does price do? Price comes, right? We leave all these engineered lows, right? But you want to start with the point at the starting point of the mitigation, right? Or the engineered, right? Engineered lows, which is right here. We leave all these lows right here, right? These are all engineered. Okay? And the reason this SMT held is because we never tapped into this. We never tapped into this POI. Meaning being this POI, this low, is not valid or nor protected. Okay? Once you see that we did not, once you see that we tapped into this and we reject off of it, taking out this low, right? Taking out this low, you should like instantly in your mind be, this low is going to get ran through. It's going to get ran to. It's going to get ran through, right? You know that this low is going to get ran through, right? Just because this low is not protected. The only way this low would have been protected, um, right? The only way this low would have been protected is if we came and we swept this high. We never induced this high. We never induced this high. So that being said, this low is not protected. Even though we took this, even though we took this low, we did not take the initial part of, right, of the mitigation, right? And it shows, right, that we were not done. We were not done down here. We were not done, right? Because we reacted off this, right? We reacted off this, so that lets you know that this low is going to get taken. That's why I had it marked out, right? I had it marked out because I know this is not going to get took because we tapped into this and we failed to take this, right? Giving us that failure swing, right? Whenever you get a failure swing, you know that low or that high is going to get took, right? So once you see this failure swing, right? You once you see this failure swing, you then know that this high is going to get took, and since you know that this low is protected, right? This low right here is protected. You know that you can either limit this, right? You can either go down on a lower time frame and find an unmitigated POI, right? Within this POI, right? To then size down and to then limit this, which I did not, right? I literally put this right here before market or before it even came down here. I put it right here just to see, right? Just to see, because it would have been a trade I took that I would have took, but I was like, I don't know, right? I don't really know, right? I just wanted to see how price reacted after sweeping this and tapping deeper into this POI. I wanted to see what price would have done, right? And it did exactly what I expected it to do, right? We tapped deeper, tapping deeper into the CE and tapping into an unmitigated POI that was with that lied within, right? To then send us back up here, right? And that's exactly what price did, right? These as this and once you've seen, so look, and this is an S&T right here, right? Once you've seen that price came broke this low, or sorry, once you've seen that price came broke this low to tap into this POI, you should have known that this S&T is not going to hold, right? You should have known that S&T is not going to hold, right? And you would have targeted this, right? You would have targeted this high, and it literally played out perfectly. As soon as we tapped into that, we literally, I keep doing that. We literally rocketed up, taking this. This trade is a valid trade. This trade is a valid trade. I just did not take it. It would have been a 1 to 10. I just did not take this is a super valid trade that you could have took, and that's exactly what happened, man. We literally took that. This S&T, this S&T became valid because um we never tapped into this POI, right? We did not tap into this POI. So once you see this, once you see price come down like this, sweep this, but we failed to sweep our initial mitigation, right? Then that should let you know that this S&T is probably going to hold, right? And since we did not take this POI, right? We did not tap into this POI. That lets you know even more that this MT is going to hold, right? So once you see this, you should have known that price is going to take this low. Price did exactly that. And you should have known that this S&T is not valid. So you could have targeted this as these you could have targeted this high, right? This high or this high. Doesn't matter. Up to you. And that's exactly what happened. Price came, and on the higher time frame, what do? We tap into a higher time frame POI, and boom, literally just front ran this. We literally just took out all this. And once you see that price tap into a POI and takes out a piece of structure, what do you see? What do you call that? Now a protected high, right? Because we tapped into a POI and we took out protected low. So we know price is going to be bearish, right? So once you see that, you know price is going to be bearish, and that's exactly what I think this next week is probably gonna be. It's probably gonna be bearish. Um, so just because we took out this, we have time to our higher time frame POI, and now price is going to be bearish, right? We should open up price pretty low. Market opens in about an hour, so I would expect the price to open up like pretty low here. To then either end up going lower, right, or go higher. It really depends. Um, but yeah, that's pretty much it. If we go on the daily, right? If we go on the daily, what I expect the price to do, right, was this daily candle, right? This is a rejection wick, right? Rejection wick off this daily gap. So coming into this day, I was like, if price ends up closing inside of this rejection wick, we're probably going to end up going higher. right? To then for that to send us up to all-time highs, right? If price closes below this rejection wick, we're probably going to keep going lower to keep rebalancing this, right? And a lot of people say that there is no wick on this daily candle. There is a wick. You just have to zoom pretty deep. Um, but yeah. So price since price closed right under the wick, right, closed within the body of the wick, or the sorry, the body of the candle, I know that price is probably going to keep going lower. Okay, if price closed above the wick, price is guaranteed like 80%. We're going all time highs. But since price did that, since we closed, I know that price is most likely going to keep going lower, right? So you could have seen this as literally just um all this as accumulation, and would manipulate it up into this wick to then send us back lower, right? So that's my kind of takeaway of the week, and kind of what I want to see happen. So yeah, weekly recap. Yeah, that's pretty much it.